This episode of On the Record is brought to you by Associated Equipment Distributors.
Hey everyone, McCain Vogel here in Hanover, Germany, celebrating the 40th year of Agritechnica. Welcome to On the Record.
On November 18th, TechCrunch published news of a lawsuit filed by Idaho-based dealership Burke's Tractor against Monarch Tractor for breach of contract and violating warranty after the California-based startup's Monarch tractors failed to operate autonomously. The dealership claims the 10 tractors it purchased via interest-bearing financing for nearly $800,000 are defective and did not live up to the driver-optional or autonomous claims of the company. Burke's Tractors claims it purchased the 10 tractors from Monarch starting in early 2024 with the intent of being among the California-based startup's first retail dealers. Burke's claims Monarch misrepresented the tractors as fully autonomous and not limited by location or time. The article states that Monarch attempted to make the units work autonomously, but failed and eventually admitted the limitations but refused to take back the defective inventory. According to TechCrunch, the suit is now in federal court. Ag Equipment Intelligence reviewed a November 19th letter from Monarch Tractor's HR department to 102 employees that warned of pending layoffs while communicating that the firm was moving to a new business plan of direct licensing for software and development to OEM customers. An industry insider told Ag Equipment Intelligence that the troubles of the lawsuit and staff layoffs were not the result of economic downturn, but rather due to an avoidance of making necessary changes to strategy. The Monarch story, we were told, is another example of where the ag tech industry's founders and engineers are so far removed from the real world of ag production that they can't comprehend the changes that are needed to make their inventions work. This week's dealer on the move is Acme Equipment. The Kubota dealer opened a new location in Minot, North Dakota, its fourth store in the state. Now here's Noah Newman with the latest from the Technology Corner.
Thank you very much, Kim. So I spent the day with Reister and Schnell, John Deere dealer in eastern Wisconsin last week, and among the many key takeaways of my visit with the Precision crew was there's one tool in particular that's really delivering a lot of ROI for farmers this year.
Big one that we're utilizing here into harvest is AutoPath. So that would have been something we would have set up this spring with putting a receiver on the planter and mapping every single corn row through the field. So that basically sets up for our application passes and our harvest passes to where that equipment pulls in the field. It knows where every single corn row is in the field, and that generates passes for the headlands and for the rows to be the most efficient through the field as possible. So the customer doesn't have to count rows when they're getting in with the sprayer or the combine or the side dress machine. It automatically knows where they need to be in that field, and it continues to put those passes in that same exact spot if you're pulling in, multiple times with like an application piece. So been a huge take rate on that as we get into the season of application and harvest. Once customers utilize it, they often question why they didn't do it earlier.
And we'll have much more from my visit with Trevor and the Precision team at Reister and Schnell in an upcoming article on precisionfarmingdealer.com. In the Technology Corner, I'm Noah Newman. Back to you, Kim.
Thanks, Noah. As of November 24th, corn prices were $4.23, down 9 cents from our last episode. Soybeans closed at $11.23, down 4 cents, and wheat closed at $5.22, down 14 cents. During the Farm Equipment Manufacturers Association Fall Convention in Las Vegas in October, 4 dealer executives took to the stage to share their expectations of independent manufacturers. The discussion covered a number of topics from used equipment to the challenges they face from major line OEMs as it relates to doing business with the short line manufacturers. Tim Brannon, president of AGCO dealership B&G Equipment in Tennessee, shared the cost impact some dealers are enduring on their used equipment inventory in a high-interest environment.
You can look at some of the fast life, some of the machinery peak. There's some dealers packing $300 and $400 million of used equipment. They're paying interest on it. We figured out one of them, that was over $1,000 per day per store on 29 stores. Folks, that's not sustainable. In Kentucky, we have AgRev. The reason for it was mowing equipment called up AGCO and said, we're no longer in the business. Called up Kloss, we're no longer in the ag business.
Eric Reutersgold, president of Wisconsin-based Case IH and Kubota dealer Johnson Tractor, highlighted some of the realities dealers face from their major line manufacturers when, as dealers, they invest time, talent, and dollars in the short lines. Here's what he and Brannon had to say on the topic.
That's becoming a very, very big issue currently. Our majors have stated to us that they're only going to grow with companies, with dealers that don't have competing lines. So they want exclusive rights to your lots, to our stores, and while you can sign up anything, and we can become a dealer for anybody, but they're stating if I want to buy another location today, they're not going to let me do it or sign me up if I have a competing line. So it's huge, and it's not just one manufacturer. We have a couple different brands and majors, and they're each saying that.
Every single dealer, every single location has its own special needs. You've got areas where certain products are hot and other ones where they won't sell. And this, again, adds to the bottom line. Anything that adds to the bottom line as far as a product should be welcomed onto a dealer's lot because it gets more customers in to look at the big 3 or 4. Why would they want to take these guys off the lot and alienate those customers and send them to somebody else? It makes no sense. I've been there for a bunch of years as calling on dealers, and I saw a dealer that started selling my brand new tractor in Louisiana because he had a short line, and people would come in buying his short line, and all of a sudden they started buying his tractors, my tractors.
Cammie Erickson, president of North Star Ag in Tower City, North Dakota, joined the panel representing the shortline-only dealer perspective. Here's what she had to say on how shortline-only dealers can find a greater position due to purity in mainline dealerships.
So where we come into play and kind of how we started and ran our business over the last 16 years is that anybody that the mainlines don't want to, so they're saying purity and they're saying, hey, you have to service our stuff over the short lines. That's where we kind of come into play. Sometimes they can buy them from a main line, but they don't get the service and the after sale. So then they'll come to us and say, hey, can you service this? Can you warranty this? Whatever problem we're having, we can't get them to come out and do it because they don't get the backing from the short lines, maybe on the major side, where we're strictly that way. We know how to deal with it on that side of it. So I guess that's kind of where we come into play. Sometimes where we have competing things or is when they let a mainline stock one particular product, but then don't let us stock it because the mainline stocks it. Then we have issues with like, hey, why can't we have the full line? We want the full line of short lines if it's accessible to our business and stuff like that. So we have certain manufacturers that won't allow us to stock X, but then they don't want to do business with their current mainline or their local mainline. They want to do it with us. So I guess I kind of have it on both sides of it. I understand only wanting to provide one product, but then for us, it's kind of the opposite.
New equipment sales have been a challenge for dealers and manufacturers alike in 2025, with large ag equipment sales down 26.5% through October, according to the Association of Equipment Manufacturers. Ag Equipment Intelligence's 2026 Dealer Business Outlook and Trend Survey show over 2/3 of dealers are reporting their revenue from new equipment sales will be down versus 2024, largely in line with their forecast from a year ago. While the total percentage of dealers reporting their new equipment revenues will be down in 2025 remained fairly even with their forecast, there were shifts in how much of a decline they expected. For example, a year ago, just over 28% of dealers forecast their new equipment revenue to be down 8% or more. That number grew 11.6 percentage points to 40% of dealers now saying their 2025 new equipment revenues will be down 8% or more compared to 2024. On the flip side, there was some improvement in dealers reporting revenue growth. On the used equipment side of the business, the percentage of dealers reporting 2025 revenues increased by at least 2% versus 2024, increased by about 3 percentage points compared to what they forecast when surveyed a year ago. However, the percentage of dealers reporting a decline of 2% or more, 46.3%, versus 2024 was also up compared to their forecast from a year ago, to 37.1%. This week's DataPoint is brought to you by the Precision Farming Dealer Summit, coming to St. Louis January 5th and 6th. To view the program and to register, visit precisionsummit.com. According to the latest USDA Census of Agriculture, nationally, 54.9 million acres in the U.S. were irrigated in 2022, down from 56.3 million acres in 1997. Between 1997 and 2022, total irrigated agricultural land in California decreased from 8.8 to 8.2 million acres, while irrigated land in Nebraska increased from 7 to 8 million acres. Over the same period, irrigated cropland acreage in Arkansas increased by more than 1 million acres, while Texas saw a decline of nearly 2 million acres. In 2012, Arkansas replaced Texas as the state with the third most irrigated acres behind Nebraska and California. The decrease in irrigated area in the West, where a generally arid climate has required irrigation for most crops, primarily reflects surface and groundwater shortage due to the drought and groundwater depletion in the face of competing demands for water. In some areas, urbanization has also contributed to this shift. The increase in irrigation is historically rain-fed eastern agricultural regions largely reflects the benefits of irrigation in areas with unreliable rainfall. As always, we welcome your feedback. You can send comments and story suggestions to kschmidt@lestermedia.com. From all of us at Ag Equipment Intelligence, thanks for watching and happy Thanksgiving.